Good morning. Welcome to AP Computer Science A. Today we are going to go over section 10.1, Intro to Recursion. So be sure to have your notes with you. Be sure to have your repo opened up to section 10.1. Type in your name, period, and don't forget to click submit once you are done so you can get credit for this assignment. Now, today we're going to be talking about recursion. We want to do first, we are going to be asking the user for a number, for a large number, and we want to be able to print each of the digits in a separate line. And I know what you're thinking, we've done this before, correct? We've done this before using while loop. But with recursion, we can see how effective it is and how fast it can be as well. Since we're trying to get the user input, we want to be able to import our scanner class. Import java.util scanner. Remember, the only classes that automatically get imported into Java are the math classes, the math class, and the language class. So the scanner, if we want to use it, we need to be able to type in the import the same way that we do the array list. Now that we've done so, let's go ahead and type into our main method. Let's go ahead and create our object for the scanner, a scanner object, and we're going to call it scan. You can call it anything else you want. Equals, we're going to call it constructor, scanner, and it's going to be input from the keyboard. And we're just going to say system.out the println. We're going to say enter a number. And now we are going to declare a variable. Let's go and say just n. We are going to use the object name scan, and now next int. And now let's go and create a separate method that we're going to call, it's going to be a public method so we can access it from anywhere. It's going to be a static method. Now remember the difference between a static and non-static method. Static method means that we don't need to create an object. So for example, the next int is not a static method because we need to be able to create the scan object so we can use it as a handle to be able to call the next int method. This method that we're creating is a static method. It's going to return nothing. It's going to be void. We're just going to print things to our console. And we're going to say print decimal. We're going to take in as an actual parameter. It's going to be an integer. Let's go and say num. And let's go and call our method right away from our main method. Once we actually get the user input, we can just say print decimal. Notice that I did not need to type in the name of the object because that's a static method. We can just call the method itself and send in the argument n, the integer n. And now it gets received as an actual parameter. We are working with recursion. Recursion is going to have one essential part in your body of the method that's going to be called the base case. The base case is going to allow this to stop. And we'll talk about more on this later. We're going to do an if statement. We are going to say if the number is greater or equal to 10. Once it gets to while it's more than 2 digits, we want to be able to continue. Once it's 1 digit, we're going to stop. Correct? If the number is 9, we're no longer going to go through our if statement. So if the number is greater or equal to 10, we're going to call a method, and the method is going to be print decimal. So therefore, we are within the print decimal method. And now we're going to call it itself So we're going to go back in. That is called recursion. And we're going to send in the number divided by 10. And the last thing that we're going to do, we are going to print system.out.println, and we're going to print the number mod 10. Where's my mod? And now let's go and run it and see what it does. And then we can talk about the process in a few minutes. Error. System. We forgot the M. Well, I forgot the M. You probably did not. So therefore, I'm going to go and run it again. Enter number. Let's go and enter a 4-digit number. 1247. And let's go and print it out. It gives us that each of the digits in a separate line. Isn't that impressive? So yes, we've done this before. But with the recursion, we can do a lot more powerful things as we go into the next lesson. Now, one of the things that it's a good thing is that on your AP exam, we actually don't have to code it. You just have to be able to trace it and tell them what the method does. And in order to do so, it's essential that we are able to trace recursion methods. So let's go over to our paper and pencil. So notice that our print statement is in line number 20. So it makes a huge difference whether we have a print statement on line number 20. I'm going to cut it, and I'm going to paste it on line number 16. And you're going to say, well, what's the difference? We're still printing the number mod 10. Yes, but what do you think is going to happen if we run it? Will it be the same thing? We're going to enter 1247. And notice that now the numbers got printed one at a time, but now it's backwards. So now let's go and take the time to trace this. So if I trace this code, and the way that we are going to be tracing is the same way that it's in your diagram in your notes. First, n equals 1244. 1247. I'm going to make a corner. And now we are going to first take the number mod 10. So now I have my output over here on the right. And my output will be 1247 mod 10 will give me 7. Then I'm going to my base case. Is the number greater or equal to 10? Yes. So now I'm going to call my itself. So I'm going to make an additional corner inside. And now n will be equal to 1247 divided by 10 will be 124. So therefore, once I come back over here, this is going to be 124 mod 10 will give me 4. I continue to line number 19. Is the number greater or equal to 10? Yes. So now I'm going to it's going to go into itself. 124 divided by 10 will be 12.4. So now it'll be 12. It's going to print. So now once you call it, it's going to be 12. It's going to print the number mod 10. So there'll be 2. Is the number greater or equal to 10? Yes. So I'm going to go back into itself. So now it'll be n equals to 1.2, which will be 1. So once I call itself, it's going to be 12 divided by 10 is 1.2, so it'll be 1. It's going to print 1 mod 10 will be 1. And now we go through the if statement. Is the number greater or equal to 10? No. So therefore, we are going to exit. When we exit, we're going to come back out here. Then we are going to come back out once again. There's nothing else to do on the next one. And then we're going to come back out once again. We're not going to print. And the output will be our number. Questions? Now let's do the same thing. Let's go and trace it once again. But now let's go and place this back where it was. And now let's go and do our trace once again. So now we are going to start with we're basically going to make boxes within boxes. We're going to start with n equal to 1247. We're going to call the print decimal, and we're going to send in 1247. You get received on line number 14. For base case, it says is n greater or equal to 10? Yes, so it's going to call itself. So let me see if I can make it a little more symmetrical. So now n will be 1247 divided by 10 will be 147 gets received. 124, correct? Now, is the number greater or equal to 10? Yes. So we're going to go into itself. So now the number will be 124 divided by 10 will be 12.4. The 0.4 gets cut off. Now, this gets received as 12. Is the number greater or equal to 10? Yes. So we are going to go again into itself and equal to 1.2, so it'll be 1. Once it gets received as a 1, then we're going to say is the number greater or equal to 10? False. So no longer we're going to go into itself. So now we can start to exit. As we start to exit, I'm going to extend this. And now first, my output will be on the right. Will be 1, 10 mod 1 will be 1. Once we print 1 on line number 20, we are going to end this method because there's no other code after line 20. Now we're going to come back over here where we left off. And we're going to say num mod 10. The num is 12. So num mod 10 will be 2. And now I'm going to close it up. My exit. Once I get to line number 22, we're going to come back where we left off, which will be on the print statement. 124 mod 10 will give me 4. And finally, I'm going to make my last exit. It will be 1247 mod 10, which will be 7. And therefore, that is all. Now, one last thing. One of the things that they're going to be asking you on your AP exam is to trace it. So many times they are going to be creating a mystery, or you're going to have a mystery method, public static void mystery. It's going to take an integer, it's going to say number. And on this mystery method, what I'm going to do, I'm going to have my base case. I'm going to say if the number is greater than, let's go and say 5, then we are going to call itself. So it's going to say mystery, and we're going to send in the number. Minus, well, let's say plus 1. Then we're going to print the number. Remember that if you print it before or after, it's going to be a big difference. You're going to see a pattern. If we actually get the numbers from 1 to 20, and we need the numbers from 20 to 1, we just need to go to switch this statement above. And let's do that right now. But now, instead of calling a print decimal, we're going to call mystery. So let's see what happens. So we're going to send in a number. Let's say 20. There's going to be cut over here. If the number is greater than 5, which it is, it's going to increase it by 1 and it's going to send it in. Exit. We cannot find P mystery. It's only called mystery. Now we can send it in. And let's go to send 20. And what happened? So that's something that you want to be careful, is that you're going to send in a 20 if the number is greater than 5, it is. But then once you send it in, you're going to increase it to 21. And therefore, you're going to go into an infinite loop. So therefore, what we want to do, we want to be able to do a -1. In that way, the number is going to decrease every single time. Let's see if I can reload it. And let's try once again. Let me go ahead and run it. And nothing got printed. We're going to print nothing got printed. We want to be able to print num. Let's try once again. 20. And we print the numbers from 5 to 20. Remember that if I switch this element over here, now we are going to start with 20 down to 5. But keep in mind that there's going to be times that your loop will be an infinite loop, because you're looking to terminate this when the number is not greater or equal to 5, and therefore the numbers need to be decreasing if the number that you're going to enter first is going to be greater than 5. So for example, if I run it and enter 4, it's going to be 4. If I enter a number less, it's fine. If I enter number 100, it's fine. But if I change this to a plus, that's going to give me an infinite loop. It doesn't matter if I type in a 6. Any questions? So this is recursion. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.